Hi, welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. My name is George Alger, and today we're going to be talking about breath work. And our guest expert is Jaitara, the mother of transformational breathing. Welcome, Jaitara.
Thank you, George. Good to be here.
So what does this mean, the mother of transformational breathing?
Well, the breath work that I do is transformational, whether it's taking you to a space of peacefulness or emotional healing. No matter what, you're going to experience a transformation. And when I'm holding space for people as a facilitator, I come from that essence of the mother, tapping into that mother love. It's a very loving embrace that I hold them in.
Good. Now let's just step back a little bit because not everyone might be familiar with what breath work means. Could you define that?
Well, breath, to me, breath is the most powerful instrument that we are born with for healing, for peacefulness, and to achieve a shift in our life, whatever that is. So it can be meditative breath. It can be meditation when you're just breathing softly and quietly to just connect and go to that place of peacefulness. It can be a vehicle that helps you connect more with spirit, whatever that means to you. And then emotional healing breath is something that's a whole other energy all to itself. And that type of breath work can literally clear what the body and soul is ready to release on a cellular level. It could be childhood abuse that you've even blocked out. It can be grief, moving through grief. It can be the releasing of a very healthy way to express and clear anger and rage. So those are the different forms of breath work. It's very powerful for merging your spirit body, whatever that means to you, with your sexual body, who we are as a spiritual being inside a physical sexual body. So that's, to me, what breath work means.
Wow, that's so profound, actually, because,
Yes.
I mean, I can say this from my perspective. I know that because I live right by the beach and I'm on the beach every day. Just breathing the ocean air seems therapeutic to me, but I've not been able to sort of look at it as broadly as this. How does this work?
Well, if you've ever been with someone who's passed on, who's made their transition from life, I held space for my mother last, when she passed on, I helped her through a transition. I've done that with my pets, and it's really obvious when you hear them take that last breath, you can feel that the spirit is riding and leaving with the breath. The heart's still shutting down, the organs are still shutting down, but the breath leaves the body, the spirit goes with it. So to me, that tells me that the breath is literally the vehicle that's holding our spirit, that part of us that is spirit. God source essence, again, whatever that means to you, in our physical body. So the breath is spirit. That's why it's so powerful for healing. That's why it's so powerful for transformation and for connecting to that place of peacefulness. Because when you bring your focus to the breath and when you tune into that, you're also tuning into that part of yourself.
Okay. Now, let's get a little bit more specific on what this means in terms of breath work. I mean, is this like we're talking about how much breath that comes in, or are we talking about the frequency of breathing? What does that mean?
Yeah, it's how much breath is coming in, frequency, also the type of breath. For example, in a meditative breath, can I just give you an example? Sure. I mean, what I love to do when I meditate is put one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, and just take it a nice deep inhalation through the nose and relax it out through the mouth. And when you do that and bring all your attention to the sound of the breath moving in and out of your body, the mind must quiet down. All that chatter that we have going on in our head, we're out there in traffic, we're doing our busy lives, there's chatter in our head all the time. And even when we try to just sit still like this, we still got that chatter. Oh, the grocery list. Oh, I have to pick up this. I have to do this. But when you take a moment after just 3 breaths of bringing all your attention to that, suddenly that chatter stops. And in that moment, you feel yourself ground, come to that calm, come to that peacefulness. So that's what a meditative breath can be like.
And let's speak to this transformational breathing. What is that actually referring to?
Well, the emotional healing breath, it's commonly known as holotropic breath or rebirthing, holistic rebirthing. I love to call it the mother of all breaths. And that is a very different breath. That breath goes in and out through the mouth. And it's not something I recommend you try at home. You really need a practitioner hold space for you because it can take you that deep. And the reason we breathe in and out of our mouth with this one is because the belly is where we hold our emotions. In the meditative breath, we're breathing in through our nose, so it's taking us up, connecting us upward to that euphoria. When we breathe in through our mouth, it goes directly to the belly, and that's where we hold our emotions. That's why when you get butterflies in your belly, it feels good. You get a knot in your stomach when it feels bad. We're holding our emotions there. So when we breathe in through our mouth, it goes to the belly and it brings the breath, and with that it brings the emotions that our body and soul is ready to release. And that breath is more like and it's done like that. So when I'm doing that, whether I'm working with any practitioner when they do that, whether it's one-on-one or in a group situation, often very loud tribal drumming is music. It works really well because it helps release it. That's when you have an opportunity to release extreme rage, anger, grief. Anger is a very natural human emotion, but it gets judged. And most of us have not been told how to clear it in a healthy way. So if you suppress it, I always say suppression leads to depression. Whereas if you have a healthy space, a loving space to do that breath and just get the anger out, express it, yell and scream and release it through the breath on a cellular level, now you're free of it. And now you can move past that, and it clears any blocks that might be holding you back from expressing more love, experiencing your life more fully. So that's the transformational breath.
So it sounds like there's a lot that could be learned here. Is there something that you might be able to suggest to someone who wants to check this out, explore it, try it? You know, some simple gradient first step they might explore?
The breath I just explained to you, you really need a practitioner there to do it your first time. Once you've had the professional guidance, because it can do so, it takes you so deep. There's things that can show up, such as tetany, where your hands can seize up, and you need a professional who knows how to clear that and release that for you. To practice on your own, what I would suggest is just start with the meditative breath. The breath I explained to you, the rebirthing, but the transformational breath, it's very similar to a runner going up a hill. That's why avid runners will tell you they often will have an emotional release and they don't even know where it came from. So I would start with the meditative breath, and if you feel some pent-up emotions, I remember one time I pulled over the side of the road. I was really frustrated about something that was happening in my life, and I just pulled over the side of the road. I took a few deep breaths, and I just let out some screams at the steering wheel and just let it out somewhere nobody could hear me. The windows were rolled up, and just let that out, and then just breathe, and then just come back to the breath, because the breath is connection. The breath keeps you connected to your body. When we let the mind chatter come over up here in your head and we're disconnected from the body, the breath is connection. So just do a gentle breath, and if you feel you need to just let out a scream, to let out some frustration, just let it go, but stick with the meditative breath. And again, it's just like a chiropractor wouldn't advise someone they try cracking their own bones too much. So the transformational breath is that deep. You need a professional to guide you through it, but those are some things you can try on your own.
Jaitara, what inspired you along this path?
Well, it was my own healing journey. In 1999, there was one day that was just flicked a switch for me. I had a breakdown. There was something that triggered that, which very quickly transformed into a breakthrough. For the first time, I acknowledged that I had been a victim when I was a young adolescent, when I had been sexually exploited. And that came to the surface on that day. And I spent 2 days purging emotions at home when that showed up. Now, if I knew about the breath, the transformational breath, the mother of all breaths, as I call it, I could have done it in 2 hours, but for me, my journey was 2 days. And a few years later, that's when I discovered the transformational breath, and I fell in love with it. And it cleared. I had a lot of anger and rage inside of me. That's why I love holding space for others. And it was this breath that cleared all of it. So there's no emotional residue from the past is left. And what happens when you clear that, what replaces it is a feeling of lightness and aliveness and peacefulness. So I was so blown away by the impact it had on my life that I love facilitating, so I decided to hold space for others to take them through the journey.
Great. Now, you've mentioned this hold space term a couple of times.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Hold space, it's a common term that healers use, energy workers. It's welcoming you into the healing space. So if someone wants to come and see me for work, or whether it's a group or one person, the host, the facilitator. So it's just another term for facilitating. I'm holding space for you. I'm holding a safe space for you to come and have this experience.
Okay. How about someone who is, hearing about this for the first time, and is there something that you could suggest to them that might even be a prior step to, let's say, meditative breathing? For instance, just walking. Is there some way that you could turn a walk in your just natural breathing into something that's more beneficial?
Yes, I would say if it's through walking, then take a moment to really feel into the rhythm of your walk and breathe with the steps. Breathe with the movement. If you do any working out, often physical trainers will tell you, use your breath with the movement. Exhale here, inhale there. So maybe one step, the other step, exhale. So just get into the rhythm of it. And if you've never done the meditative breathing, it really is that simple. I like putting a hand on my heart because I feel that connection to my body even more. And just nice deep relaxation in through the inhale, like I demonstrated earlier, relax it out through the exhale. And even if you just start with 3 breaths, only 3 breaths, that's less than a minute of bringing all your attention to 3 breaths, breathing slowly like that, you'll feel a shift and you'll feel the mind quiet. So if you just start with that, then the next day maybe do 4 breaths, then the next day maybe do 30 seconds. And then you'll probably fall in love with it and want to do more and more just because of the difference in the shift. You can even do that, say, if you were cut off in traffic or something and you're on your way into a business meeting and you need your focus. You can slip into a washroom cubicle. Just take 3 breaths to just give all your attention to the sound of the breath moving in and out of your body, and immediately you'll come back into focus.
Now, in addition to putting all your attention on it, is there any interest or desire to ensure that you exhale all of the breath, or is it a normal breath?
Just start out, it doesn't matter. It is nice if you just let it all out before you breathe it in. But if you're just a beginner and new at it, you don't want to overthink it because then you're getting up into your head. Just keep the breath more deeper than usual, and very relaxed.
Thank you very much, Jaitara.
Thank you.
So we're out of time here.
All right.
But I'm wondering if we could get a website that viewers could go to for more information.
Yes.
And if there's a summating message you'd like to convey to the viewers.
The summating message, I guess this is coming up for me a lot today, is what do you crave? Do you crave more peacefulness? Do you crave more play? Do you crave more expression? Do you crave more connection? Whatever it is you crave, all of those things, the breath is life. And when you connect to the breath, it can be a pathway to all of that.
Beautiful. And what's the website?
Thank you. ASTTicBreath.com.
Thank you very much, Jaitara.
Thank you.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of OurVentura TV. Until we meet again.